Bonjour, in this video, I'm gonna talk to you about the 9 different mistakes that people make in their first part of their e-collar journey. Maybe you're doing the same thing 6 months in. Let's get into it. Bonjour, you beautiful pet parent. My name's Evan Doggett. I've been a professional dog trainer for over a decade doing e-collar training. 13, 14 years now. I'm out in the woods with 4 dogs, 3 of which are mine, a little pit bull, a lab, a shepherd, and then this is Naya, a client's dog that was formerly a very reactive, borderline aggressive, and they're all wearing e-collars. E-collars are the best. It just means that if a skunk, a porcupine, a squirrel runs by, they catch a sniff, I 100% know that I can get my dogs back. It's like having a leash on the dogs, which leads me to the first mistake, the most common mistake that I see people make at the beginning is that they don't have a leash on their dog. The reason that you have a leash on your dog is not that you're using it, it's backup. So that way if the dog feels a stimulation and you accidentally go a little too high, they don't run away. It's not a go away button, it's a come here button, especially at the beginning. Later it might be a go away button, but at the beginning it's 100% come to me, get a reward, ideally food, maybe affection, and or a toy. I'm a big fan of using food in the beginning. The second most common problem, I'll show you on the dog right here, is that it's not on nearly tight enough, which means there's no contact. Naya, come. So you can see on her, it's slid down. Now I did this on purpose. Look, watch this. It can go right around her neck. Now that's a problem because if she's looking this way, it's not tight enough. And now it's too tight when she looks the other way. So what I want, Naya, come, sit. What I'm looking for is that, maybe I'll bring you this way, come, sit. When I put this thing on, I put it on in a way that is like, I'm not like trying to choke her. She shouldn't be choking. But in my opinion, there's almost no such thing as too tight because you're only gonna have it on for like an hour to 2 hours max in the same spot. Now, she has just the basic contacts break on, and you can get contact with, they come with 2 different sizes typically, most e-collars. Even I almost never use the slightly longer ones. It's just about going that much tighter. But for example, Parker, he has different, you're not Parker, good boy. He has a totally different set of contacts on, which means it's more likely that I'm gonna get contact through his thick fur. I added these ones back on. You don't need to have those on. I just lost the screws. Parker, come. And as you can see, these dogs are happy to get their e-collars back on. They know that it means food, fun, freedom, outdoors, playtime, going in the car. It's associated with all the great things in life. Now, this leads us to number 3, which is, you're gonna think this one might be dumb, and how could I ever make this mistake? Let me tell you that I've made this mistake so many times to the point where I created a whole process now, because the time that I didn't turn it on, that's number 3, the most common thing, my dog, 2 of them were running at a bear. This bear, I used to live out in the country, which you probably think I'm in the country right now, this isn't town. Okay, there's a tip for life. As you hear dogs running behind you, stop, bend your knees, squeeze your butt cheeks, hold your breath, and pray to dear baby Jesus that you don't get taken out. Okay, so not turned on. The dogs are running at a friggin' bear, and I'm standing there going, tap up, tap up, tap, why isn't this working? I didn't turn it on. So now what I do as part of just my regular process and the way that I teach pet parents like you, you'll see it in my eCollar 101 course. If you don't have that yet, it's a great step-by-step, everything laid out very clearly, is we turn them on. So you go with this smaller model with the mini. Most of them you touch the little red dot to the red dot, you turn it on. Parker, come. But let me show you something. Let me show you a problem. Parker, come. Good boy. Is sometimes what people do, break. Oh. Sometimes what happens is you'll see, watch, so I turned it off, is people go, they'll do this. They'll just, Jesus, what's going on here? They'll just touch it together quickly. Might not do it on this one. There. See that little flash? You just kind of, you're in a hurry and you touch them together and the green light just for a second, but it didn't actually turn on. So the dogs came back after chasing the bear, by the way. I mean, they're Great Pyrenees. That's what they're bred to do. So I want to hit the T button. This one isn't paired to this, but I want to hit this T button here to make sure this vibrates in my hand. You can do the stimulation, but it's just faster to go vibration. Yes, it's turned on. Great. Let me put it on the dog next. I literally sent a dog home this year. Parker! Good boy. I literally sent it. Oh my God. Come here, Park. I sent a dog home this year. Sit. Again, rule number 2, put it on tight enough. I sent a dog home from a board and train this year, and they're like, yeah, the first 3 days she was amazing. Break. I normally do a follow-up a few days after doing a board and train. And they're like, yeah, for the first 3 days she was amazing. And then she just started like doing her old behaviors again, and we weren't able to interrupt her with the e-collar. Wasn't turned on. Doesn't work if it's not turned on. Number 4, this might be a problem and it might not. Having multiple dogs in the area at the same time as training. It's only a problem if you can't focus on the dog at hand, and it's a problem if the dogs will like compete over the thing that you're rewarding them with, whether it's affection or food. You want to just have the other dog's way. But if you can concentrate and the other dog's there, a lot of times people have an older dog that's mostly good or maybe exceptionally good, but they have this new younger dog or a new rescue or something, they're trying to train that dog. And the other dog's like, but I want the food. Well, then just, feed them too. That's fine. Or ignore them and just train your dog. Come, sit, feed that dog. And then the other dog will be like, but what about me? And you'll be like, okay, fine. God, it's pretty in here. Number 4, verbal only. So what this means is that you're asking your dog to do something and you're hitting the button, but you never go non-verbal. So, for example, Peepa, come. I ask her to come, I hit the button, and she knows that I've got food. The problem with that, Peepa, come. I ask her to come, and I feed her. Peepa, come. I ask her to come, and I feed her. The problem with that is that you get out into a real environment, and maybe you didn't have the collar turned on. Maybe the dog doesn't feel the level. So we want to do non-verbal, watch her turn, good girl, come back to me. Now, rule number 1, mistake number 1, have a leash on the dog. But in this context, you get to see, okay, I know she can feel 11 out of 100. I know that she's responding to that. So by doing verbal only, does the dog feel it? I don't know. You gotta do the button without. And remember, it's not a punishment. So you're just trying to find that smallest level to go, hey, that was me. Just like if you pulled on the leash and the dog completely ignored you, you might need to use a little bit more pressure or a different tool to get their attention. Which leads me to number 6, which is keeping the number at the same level all the time. This is possible to be at the same level all the time and it not be a mistake. And that would be you have an extremely sensitive dog that, works very, very low and they 100% feel it all the time. And a lot of times that people say, I just keep it at 5. They're not, they're always using their voice. The previous mistake. So some dogs will work between 2 and 3 levels their whole life. Very rare, very, very rare. I've had maybe 4 dogs out of thousands at this point. It's got to be in the thousands. And if you are using the e-collar at the same level and it is effective, that leads to mistake number 8, which is you're in the same environment all the time. Now it's time after your first day to go outside. And maybe that's just your backyard, or maybe it's a different room in your house, but having a different distraction level, which honestly, a different room in your house, unless the dog's not allowed in that room, at which point, what are you doing in that room with the dog? Be consistent with your rules. Unless there's a different distraction, different smells, holy mackerel. I almost got taken out. Unless there's different distractions, the dog can be at the same level. So it's time to switch it up. It's time to go out into different environments. Maybe this is too much. Maybe outside of the dog park is too much, but if you have a backyard or a front yard or a parking lot, it's fantastic. Stay on the concrete, not as distracting as the smell because odor is trapped by moisture. It like lasts longer on damp areas. I won't say the M word. And number 9 is asking your dog to do a sit stay before you get them to do the recall homework. So it looks like, Naya, come, sit, stay, come, tap, good food, sit, stay, come, tap. It's a little bit too robotic. You really want this like tap on the shoulder, dog turns to you, hey, that was me. So that way, when you're out in this environment and your dog is distracted by something, or not out in this environment, you're like literally on the street, you're preparing for eventually working through reactivity with your dog. It's too early to do that for most of you. And you want to be able to tap the button, have the, yeah, go girl, oh my gosh, have that dog come right back. Like that is exactly, God, I hope I wasn't blocking that. The exact response that you're looking for is just happy, run back to you, where's my food? Watch again, yeah, that good girl. Oh my goodness, now that was 6 out of 100. She is wearing the Boss remote. So those are your 9. Watch one of these videos on e-collar training your first week, or if you watch this video before conditioning, watch this video right here. And as always, know that you're loved. Bye meow.